When you think of international football, almost immediately certain nations come to mind. There's the obvious ones like Netherlands, England, Italy, and Brazil. And then there are the slightly less obvious ones like Croatia, like the USA, and like Mexico. And then there are the ones that no one ever thinks about. But what if I told you that one nation that falls under the last category could actually be one of the dark horses for the upcoming World Cup? A nation that has rewritten its football history in the space of just a couple of decades to become one of the major forces, not just on their continent, but on the entire globe. You might have guessed it already, but that nation is Morocco. Literally just a few years ago, the Atlas Lions were considered underdogs on the world stage, a team known more for its passion than its pedigree. But then came 2022 and everything changed. Morocco became the first African nation in history to reach a World Cup semi-final, stunning giants like Belgium, Spain, and Portugal along the way. Now they are no longer outsiders, they are a serious project, one that the entire footballing world is watching closely. And so that begs the question, could Morocco actually go even one step further in 2026, or just maybe even win the whole entire World Cup? If you've clicked on today's video, then that means you are just as hyped for the upcoming World Cup as we are. And if I guessed that correctly, then why don't you consider dropping a like on today's video, subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and turning on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming football breakdowns. And now that's out of the way, let's get straight into it. Morocco has always been a sleeping giant of African football. From their historic round of 16 run in 1986, the Atlas Lions have carried a true legacy of flair, pride, and technical ability. But for decades, it felt like that promise never truly materialized. That all began to change in the late 2010s. The Royal Moroccan Football Federation made a bold decision to rebuild Moroccan football from the ground up. They invested heavily in infrastructure, youth development, and global scouting. The centerpiece of that project was the Mohammed VI Football Complex, a $65 million world-class facility just outside Rabat. That investment was not just about producing players, it was about producing a football identity. The FMRF began connecting with Moroccans in the diaspora to create a squad that blended European football education with African heart and identity. That's how stars like Ashraf Hakimi, Sofiane Amrabat, Nusser Mazraoui, Yassine Bono, and Hakim Ziyech all came together, all with different origins but one shared purpose. And this project has grown into something far bigger than just national pride. It's become a global football project. Morocco's model is now being studied across Africa and beyond, most recently with countries like Indonesia achieving major success employing this model. And for Morocco, this all culminated in a historic 2022 World Cup campaign in Qatar the moment it all came to life. Morocco entered this tournament with quiet confidence, drawn in a so-called group of death with Belgium, Croatia, and Canada. But instead of being overwhelmed, they thrived. They drew 0-0 with Croatia, then stunned Belgium 2-0, and managed to seal top spot in the group with a 2-1 win over Canada. From there on, it became history. They eliminated Spain in the round of 16 after a really tense penalty shootout, with Bono saving 2 penalties and Hakimi chipping home the famous Panenka that sent the Arab world into celebration. Then they shocked Portugal 1-0 in the quarterfinals, becoming the first African nation ever to reach a World Cup semi-final. Their dream run finally ended against the defending champions France, but the message was clear. Morocco had arrived not as underdogs, but as a new powerhouse from Africa. Since then, they've kept the momentum going. Morocco's under-20 side made history by becoming only the second African nation after Ghana in 2009 to ever win the FIFA Under-20 World Cup trophy, a symbol of how deep and sustainable their football revolution is. And now, their road to the 2026 World Cup has proved that their previous run was certainly no fluke. Under Walid Regragui, the Atlas Lions have been nothing short of dominance in African World Cup qualifying. They became the first African team to officially qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, doing so with a perfect record and a whopping goal difference of +20. Across their qualifying group, Morocco won every single game, scoring freely while keeping things airtight at the back. They averaged well over 2.5 goals per match while conceding just 0.25 goals per game. Morocco's recent success is a continuation of what they built in Qatar. Defensively, Morocco are still elite. They finished with a flawless 8 wins from 8 record in Group E. Over those 8 matches, they scored a whopping 22 goals and conceded only 2, an average of 2.75 goals scored and 0.25 goals conceded per game. In a standout match, they averaged 18 total shots with 11 on target and enjoyed 77% possession versus Congo, who managed only 1 shot in return. That kind of attacking dominance combined with defensive solidity speaks to the discipline of this unit. Yassine Bono, arguably Africa's best goalkeeper, anchors a backline that conceded just 2 goals across 8 qualifying matches, keeping 6 clean sheets in the process. The pairing of Ney Faged and Roman Saiz has been rock solid. Morocco have allowed fewer than 6 shots on target per game, the best defensive record across African qualifiers. The midfield is also both balanced and industrious. Sofiane Amrabat, born in Netherlands but proudly Moroccan, has averaged 1.92 tackles and 0.52 interceptions per game during qualifying, essential in breaking up play. Meanwhile, Azzedine Ounahi and Abdelhamid Sabiri add creativity and versatility. Morocco averaged 63.6% possession across qualifiers, reflecting their ability to dictate tempo and territory. And then there's the attack. Fast, fluid, and full of variety. Morocco have scored 22 goals in 8 qualifying matches, averaging 2.75 goals per game, one of the highest across Africa. Leading the line, Youssef El Nesiri has been lethal. 2 goals and 2 assists with 13 shots on target from 32 attempts. His aerial ability and movement in the box give Morocco a constant outlet. Achraf Hakimi, often starting games as a right wing back, has chipped in with 3 assists, and he leads the way for his team with 11 chances created in total, proving why he's considered one of the world's best attacking defenders. But the real story of this qualifying campaign is Brahim Diaz. Once a Spanish international, Diaz made the switch to represent Morocco in early 2024. And since joining the squad, he's added a whole new layer of attacking creativity. 1 goal, 2 assists, and 9 chances created in 6 appearances. His ability to drift between the lines and combine effectively with El Nesiri has made Morocco's attack both unpredictable and explosive. Despite all of these strengths, some warning signs still remain. The first issue is, despite all of the good progress made, Morocco still haven't ever won anything, coming up short in both the African Cup of Nations and the FIFA World Cup. But with the next AFCON 2025 being hosted in Morocco, this could finally be their moment. Playing at home in front of their passionate fans, the Atlas Lions should be considered one of the absolute favorites to lift the trophy. Then there's their depth and experience at top-tier level. While Morocco's midfield and defense may be strong, they haven't always faced the very elite week in, week out like some major European sides do. This means occasional lapses in both concentration and structure could be punished. Their flawless qualifying record masked a few matches where they dominated possession but struggled to turn that into goals or clear chances early. For example, their 1-0 win over Congo saw them get over 70% possession but only 1 goal from open play. So when we talk about Morocco's ambition on the world stage, it's not just about what they bring, but it's also about who exactly they'll have to go through to make history again. Within Africa, the field is as competitive as it's ever been. Senegal, led by Sadio Mane and a new generation that includes the likes of Nicolas Jackson and Pape Matar Sarr, remain the continent's most balanced side. Then there's Ghana, whose youthful rebuild under Otto Addo has injected pace and unpredictability with world-class players like Mohamed Kudus and Antoine Semenyo capable of changing games in an instant. Ivory Coast, meanwhile, are back to being a true powerhouse, with the likes of Amad Diallo and Simon Edingra leading the charge, and their AFCON 2024 triumph still fresh in memory. They are a real threat to absolutely anyone on their day. But perhaps Morocco's fiercest African competition comes from Egypt. The Pharaohs are desperate to reclaim their continental dominance after years of near misses. Mohamed Salah remains their talisman, plus the attacking precision of players like Omar Mamouche and Trezeguet means Egypt will likely be Morocco's greatest African rival heading into 2026. Then, of course, the challenge extends beyond Africa. On the global stage, Morocco are now measured amongst the world's elite and its most dangerous dark horses. One of those, fittingly, is Croatia, the same team that ended Morocco's fairy tale run in the 2022 third-place playoff. With veterans like Luka Modric and Mateo Kovacic still guiding an ever-refreshing pipeline of technically gifted players, Croatia remain the benchmark for consistency among smaller footballing nations. Elsewhere, Uruguay are quietly building something truly fierce under Marcelo Bielsa. Darwin Núñez and Federico Valverde lead a side that presses relentlessly and attacks with purpose. Japan and South Korea too have shown that tactical structure and technical mastery can go toe-to-toe with anyone on the world stage, both finishing strong in Asian qualifying and looking more dangerous than ever. In short, Morocco's competition is fierce, both familiar and global. But unlike in years past, they no longer look out of place amongst these names. They belong in this conversation, and that might be their most powerful weapon of all. So, can Morocco really go all the way in the 2026 FIFA World Cup? Honestly, yes, they can. This isn't just about romanticizing their 2022 heroics. They've built on that historic semi-final run with world-class infrastructure, elite coaching, and a squad stronger than ever. When you look at what they're doing at every level, from the Under-20 World Cup triumph, their perfect qualifying campaign to the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and even to hosting the upcoming AFCON this year, then you realize this is not just a national team project, it's a global football blueprint that is pushing the boundaries of what African football can become. Of course, repeating or even surpassing that 2022 miracle will not be easy. The margins at the very top are brutal, but if there's any team that looks like it's built to break that ceiling, it's this Morocco side. So there you have it, guys, the incredible journey of Morocco, one of the most exciting national football teams on the planet right now. But what do you think? Can the Atlas Lions roar their way to glory at home in AFCON 2025 and then go on to conquer the entire world at the World Cup in 2026? Drop your predictions in the comment section. And if you want to keep up to date with every twist and turn for the upcoming African Cup of Nations and the World Cup next year, make sure you head on over to our website SportyTrader.com. We've got all of the fixtures, stats, and previews you'll ever need. And guys, if you enjoyed today's video, then please make sure to first of all smash that like button, subscribe to the channel SportyTrader, and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming football videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.